Hello random people on the internet, my name is Banana, and you're tired of it. You're sitting here in your ender armor with your aspect of the end, and you realize that you just want to be better at the game. You're stuck in the mid game, and you want to get out. Now, how do you do that? Well, today I do have a tutorial that should help any player get from a mid game level, such as ender armor or any other epic armor, more so than even early game dragon armor. This will help anyone get a bit further in the game, and it can honestly bring you to the point of superior with a Midas sword if you try hard enough. And yeah, let's get right into that. So the number one tool that I'm going to recommend for any mid-game player to upgrade themselves is a massive pumpkin farm. Now you can see I've had this in progress for months. I have not touched this thing because I have never needed to grind it. When I played the game, I was mid-game, but then the end update came out and I sort of just boosted myself to endgame with new content because everyone was at about the point that I was at. So yeah, I didn't ever have to use this, but the pumpkin farm will carry you through the early game and mid game. If you just grind this for money and sell all your pumpkins, you will end up getting enough money to get an aspect of the dragons or some simple dragon armor. It will happen, and this is honestly the number one method that I would use if you can't just go grind summoning eyes, because the money that you get from this will be good enough to suffice for the early on stuff, such as mid game, like getting better weapons, getting better armor. But then later on, if you're trying to buy superior and stuff, I would not recommend grinding out the pumpkin farm, just because, I mean, you're going to be grinding here for so long. If you have that kind of time, go ahead. But I mean, I would do some better money strats, such as grinding summoning eyes, because grinding summoning eyes is probably the best way to make money, and it always has been, just because you can just kill these zealots pretty mindlessly once you have the ability to one-shot them, which can be a bit harder. But once you can one-shot them, you can just mindlessly run around and kill zealots, or you can use the explosive bow strategy that a lot of people have talked about, and you can make a lot of coins an hour. And when you're making a lot of coins an hour, you're going up in power. Basically, the main thing that is keeping mid-game players from the end game is coins, because that's all you need to buy a lot of the stuff. Like, the one thing that you can't get with coins is Slayer items, because Slayer items are locked behind the level cap. But if you're just going for dragon armor and stuff, grinding coins is the best way. So doing methods like a pumpkin farm or grinding summoning eyes is definitely going to be awesome. And if you want more coins, you can go for the Raider's Axe, because the Raider's Axe is going to be your best friend when you're grinding from early to late game. Basically, if you don't know how to get the Raider's Axe, you're going to put on a fish hat, which you make by just having 8 fish. You do it like a chest, you go like that. It's really easy. And then you put a raw fish in here, put magical water bucket over there, and then you just start spamming splash. You just start twerking for this dude, and he's just going to enjoy it. He's just going to love you doing this. Excellent. Just a few more fishes and splashes, please. Yes. He just enjoys this so much. So much. Oh, yeah. He really liked that. And then you can get the Raider's Axe, and you get 20 coins from every monster you kill. And you get a lot of damage, which means that you can one-shot summoning eyes more. And just getting more wood will up the strength on it, which pushes you to get more collections, more minion slots, more everything. It's going to just be good in general for you to buy a Raider's Axe, because grinding those coins while you're killing zealots and one-shotting the zealots with the Raider's Axe is so beneficial that I don't think any early or mid-game player can really pass up on this wonderful weapon. If damage is your problem, I would definitely recommend that you just come grind with your Raider's Axe and kill a bunch of normal Endermen in the end. It doesn't matter what level they are. I just go for whichever level is the highest one that you can one-shot with your maxed out Raider's Axe. It is definitely just beneficial to grind that, because it gets you combat XP, a lot of it, if you're just grinding these Endermen, and you're still getting coins from every single one that you kill, and you're getting more damage on your Raider's Axe. It's a win-win if you just run around here with a Raider's Axe killing Endermen one by one, just to level up your combat a little bit more so you can do more damage and get more crit chance. Speaking of crit chance, oh, that was a gross voice crack, but we're moving past that. Speaking of crit chance, you are going to want as many talismans as possible. Now, when you're in the mid game, you might only have stuff like in this row, but if you can get like the frozen chicken, really easy to get. Just you have to be on for one Jerry event and just do the chicken race. It's a good rare talisman. It'll give you a lot of damage. Haste ring, really easy to get. Rare talisman, gives you a lot of damage. Even the fish affinity talisman, the pig's foot, all of these rare talismans are surprisingly easy to get compared to like a lot of these ones up here, except the bait ring. Don't go for the bait ring unless you're super rich. But like the ones up here are pretty hard to get, except the bat artifact. The bat artifact is definitely going to help out any player. I definitely just go for as many talismans as possible if you want to try and become late game, because your end game is doing dragons or doing slayers. That's pretty much how you're going to end up doing stuff, and you're going to want as much talismans as possible so you can do as much damage as possible. You can see I'm not fully maxed on my talismans, but I do have a lot in my bag here, and I can't wait to get more just so that I can do a little bit more damage. You're always grinding for more damage, but that's definitely one of the big things that does separate any mid-game player from an end-game player. Now, I've told you about how to get coins from doing a bunch of stuff, but you can also passively get coins with minions. I definitely recommend Clay Minion with Diamond Spreading and Enchanted Lava Buckets. You don't really need the Enchanted Lava Bucket and the Super Compactor, but the Diamond Spreading is definitely necessary as long as you want a lot of money. These clay minions make so much for me every day, and they're really awesome, but you can also substitute clay minions for things like snow minions when it comes to money. Tarantula minions make a lot, but I know a lot of mid-game players won't have tarantula minions. Any minion that you think is worth running that is for money specifically is definitely worth. A lot of people will say, oh, you should get Leaping Sword because Leaping Sword does a lot of damage. No, don't put minions down for Leaping Sword. It's not worth it in my opinion, because Raider's Axe is pretty much just as good as a Leaping Sword, and I think that weapon is just not worth anymore. Speaking of worth, what should you use your coins on? Coins are a commodity, and I mean, if you're just out here buying superior armor for yourself, you're going to be struggling when it comes to buying everything. And I basically have a couple things that I can recommend to you. I recommend for anyone who is just trying to scrape the edge of endgame, you could go for young armor. Young armor you can see sells for about 700k a piece if you're looking in here, and that's just for like the big boy ones. You could definitely get a set of young armor for under 3 million coins, which isn't that long of grinding pumpkins, and young armor is really good for just speeding around. I'd say it's one of the last dragon sets I'd want to go for, but it's pretty cheap and also pretty good just because of its base speed and its ability to up your speed cap to 500%. I would also recommend for anyone who's more poor to go for unstable armor, because unstable armor allows you to just have a lot more crit chance all the time, and that's really good in general just because crit chance is always good. And unstable actually isn't that expensive as long as there's not some big AFK farm going around, because if there's a AFK farm, unstable is usually the thing that is used in it. You can see 500k for a helmet, 500k. Yeah, you're basically looking at about 100,000 per 10 frags that you put in. Maybe a little bit more on the chest piece for some reason because the auction house is just weird. But unstable armor is definitely the best cheap dragon armor set, I'd say. And then there's stuff like strong, and strong can negate the need for anything like aspect of the dragons even, because you can just have your aspect of the end do so much damage just because of the strong buff, where it gives you plus I think 100 strength or 75 strength on your aspect of the end, which is really good because then you'll be one-shotting zealots for sure with an aspect of the end. But I mean, I would still go for Raider's Axe or an aspect of the dragons. Aspect of the dragons is going to take you a long time to grind out and buy just because it's an aspect of the dragons. But I mean, this is the second, third best sword in the game. Like, It's second all-around sword as far as I can think right now. I guess Pigman is a little better, but Pigman takes about 17 billion years to grind out. So think in your head, is it worth 17 billion years of my time grinding out pork, or should I just get the coins to buy an aspect of the dragons? So that's basically the kind of weapons and armor I'd go for. Strong armor and aspect of the dragons should be your end game for like getting into the late game, I guess, because like Superior and 50 mil Midas, they're really good. I would recommend, if you have the ability to go for Superior, go for Superior. But the thing about Superior is, if you are mid game right now, that is so far away, and there's so many better money making methods once you get to the late game. Just doing dragons, just doing slayers. This is for those kind of players who are not at the point where they are able to just like get top damage on dragons, or even do a dragon, or even kill a zealot. There's so many things that people just aren't able to do, and I hope that this can help a lot of people figure out how to do that. What is going on? Why is everyone leaving the guild? I'm gonna have to figure this out. But that's gonna be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, I would really appreciate a like or a subscription. And yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Peace out.